Well, hello there, students, and this is Dr. Caner coming to you for a very brief message. This one is on the notes that you have in front of you called exegesis or explanation. There's a reason that we use this term, but more to the specific point. One of our jobs as faculty these days is to not only introduce ourselves, but to do it in a way where you understand the method to why we do what we do and how we do what we do. It's not just enough to do a syllabus anymore. I think it's more important to elaborate on the syllabus when you can, and especially if you're at a distance. But if you will note that there are 4 boxes on this page, after what looks like a lot of scribbling, that term right there is actually the Greek word for exegesis. Um, the exegesis, which is part of hermeneutics, it's part of devotional study, it's how you study Scripture. It actually means to unpack or to pull out of. Exegesis, as opposed to eisegesis. That's the opposite. Eisegesis is to read into. Inductive versus deductive. Inductive Bible study is approaching the Scripture on its merits and taking it for what it says. Deductive is necessary as well. It's just not a great way to study Scripture. Deductive is what deduction is what detectives do. It's what those that are finding criminals do. They deduce based on the evidence they have. They come to assumptions. And so what they're doing is reading into. It's not a good way to come to Scripture, though, because when you're reading into something, sometimes you're just taking whatever bias you have, whatever filter you have. As an example, well, we know that David and Jonathan had a homosexual relationship. That's actually something I've heard preached these days. Why? Well, they were so close, and the term here means that hearts were knit together. Yeah, okay. That has no proof of that homosexual relationship whatsoever. And as a matter of fact, I would say, knowing Scripture, David was quite a ladies' man, to his detriment, a deleterious effect on him. And so he seemed to lean the other way, to be a bit of a hound dog, with Bathsheba, of course, and then Abigail. So I would say that you're reading into the text as opposed to pulling from the text. Well, here's a way to say, here's the information on me, and here's for what you need to know. The very first box gives you my name, Edwin Mehmet Caner, and my emails right below that. Dean of the Graduate School of Theology at Arlington Baptist University, and I've been that for a couple of years now. I teach in undergraduate and graduate, but I really have a passion for building our graduate school in a worldview manner. If you look underneath that, those are my degrees. And we do that because we want to be absolutely transparent with you. My undergraduate degree from the University of Cumberland, it actually was called Cumberland College when I was there. Started in 1984, graduated from high school in 84, got there in 84. And I was there for 5 years. And if you'll note, I got the bachelor's in biblical studies, and my minor was Greek and Hebrew. It's why it took me an extra year, because I had to take more Hebrew. And I also minored in French. No real reason for it. Not necessarily something that God told me to do. It's just me being stupid, I think. But nonetheless, then I went on and got my Master of Arts in Theology at Criswell College, Dallas. One of the greatest periods of time in my life. We then moved to Wake Forest, North Carolina, along with Dr. Patterson, who had just become the president at Southeastern. And I tried to knock down 2 degrees pretty quickly. One was the Master of Divinity, which is a long degree. It's a 92-hour degree. And then right on top of that was a degree that they still offer in certain places called the Master of Theology. Now, if you go to Dallas Theological Seminary, your Master of Theology is a 4-year degree. It's a lot of work. It's like a Master of Divinity, but it demands extra work. In my case, however, Master of Theology was only a 20-hour degree. It was a research-driven degree. I felt like I needed that in preparation for a PhD. And by that time, I knew I wanted to get a PhD. So I got the Master of Theology and started writing on the First Crusade. And then the University of South Africa accepted me. And for the next number of years, I poured myself into finishing there. And I, again, staying in that genre in the Crusades. except this time I wrote about the comparison between holy war and just war. Bellum Justum versus Bellum Sacrum. I was teaching by then at the Criswell College, and then I went to Liberty University, and then here. So it was. I laid those in front of you because I want you to know a little bit of my background, and it's important, I think, for the students to know their faculty and sort of what trained us. I'll elaborate more later. Here's the next thing you have to know, though. This is absolutely required. I use Dropbox and YouTube. Dropbox is where I put our documents. Again, I don't believe in you having to pay for books if I can help it. I have so many books in PDF form that I upload them to Dropbox. You will see that the password is there. You will see that the login is there, and that all those books are there. Some of them are there because they're required for the class. Others, however, are there purely for you to use, purely for your entertainment or as a resource for you. As a supplement to the lectures, or if you're taking me by great distance, part and parcel of the lectures is the YouTube channel. If you search my name, oh my gracious, you see, just like any pastor, any preacher, you'll see places I've preached, and they'll say, here's Dr. Caner, and he's speaking on this. Or you'll run into my haters, which everybody has them. No man of God will ever accomplish anything without having people who can't stand him. That's me, and I wear it like a badge of honor, because the people that can't stand me don't know me at all. They've never been in the same room with me, and furthermore, I'd be worried if they did like me. Mine, however, has got a picture of me smiling, a little circle picture, and I've also given you the direct link to it. I will also send you the link to a certain specific lecture. What we're trying to do is make the lectures a little more uniform, both in length and in purpose. And those lectures are there again to supplement. If you pay attention to the lectures, I believe, on the YouTube channel, they're no more than about 15 minutes long. It's my hope, I'd like them to be short like this one. This one's only about 8 minutes long. But my hope is that it makes total sense. The class makes sense. I have, I believe, 8 more lectures that I'm doing today and tomorrow for my various classes. And if you're there, if you look at them, it tells me who's seen them, and it tells me who's looked at them. For this one, however, all I ask is that you either email me or that you text me and say, got it. That's it. Just say, got it, for the eisegesis or exegesis explanation of the prof. Till next time.